Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in this video we are going to discuss the Google Map in Data Studio, and more specifically we are going to discuss about the bubble map in Data Studio. So we are going to build this beautiful bubble map from the scratch. So before we go ahead and start creating this bubble map, you might be thinking, why do we need to use the Google Map in our dashboard? But believe me, adding Google Maps to your reports gives your viewer a familiar interactive environment where they can explore geographical data. Google Maps in Data Studio are highly customizable, and it can integrate with any data source that contains a valid geo fields. And most importantly, people like map visualization because they are easy to grasp, it's visually appealing and entertaining also. Maps are widely used to highlight particular regions that are notably or specifically different from other regions, as well as it helps to demonstrate trends over numerous locations in a single piece of visualization. So you might think, and you can also ask yourself, or you can ask me, what is a bubble map? So let me tell you, bubble map consists of dots displayed over a map with a size of circle being proportional to its value in the dataset. This simply means each circle on a bubble map are plotted based on its geo coordinates, which is known as latitude or longitude. The size of this dot represents the value of the chosen matrix. The higher the value, the bigger the circle will be, and vice versa. So the next question which should come in your mind, that how bubble map works. So this bubble map in general is simply a Google Map chart which allows you to visualize location data in Google Map, and based on Google Data Studio documentation, each Google Map consists of two layers. The first layer is the background layer. So this is the background layer which helps you to display the Google Map interface. So this background layer, which is beneath this entire bubbles and everything, is a interface which helps you to display the map. The second important layer is the data layer, which displays data as a bubble or filled area depending upon the configuration. So in this example, we have bubble map as our configuration. So the data layer displays the bubbles or the filled area. So this, when I put my cursor over the circle, you can see that you have India, capital New Delhi, and the number of internet users, right? So this is the data layer of this Google Map. So in Data Studio, we have the luxury of controlling the presentation and appearance of a map chart, such as the color theme of the base map, the size and the color of the bubble, and many much more flexibilities are present over there in Google Data Studio. And all of these configurations are available within the chart property, which we will find more when we will be creating this bubble map from the scratch. So that's being said, let's go and create this bubble map in Data Studio. So first of all, what I'll do is that I'll go to edit and I click on this map. Then you can see that we have all these dimensions, is country name, tooltip, color dimension, size and everything, right? So I'm going to explain each and everything in detail when we'll start creating this map. So first of all, what I need to do is that I need to show you the data which is beneath this entire visualization. So I have a Google Sheet over here. In this Google Sheet, I have country name, their ISO 2 code, ISO 3 code. Then we have capital, continent, currency, internet host. So this means how many internet hosts are present in a particular country, and internet users, the total number of internet users which is present in a country. So most specifically, we will be using this internet user and this country name in our bubble map. So let's go to our Data Studio first, and I'm going to add a new page here. The first thing what I need to do is that I need to go to add a chart button, and when you will go under this Google Map section, you will see this first chart which is bubble map. If I click on it, then Google Data Studio will allow me to add a bubble chart. So I'll put it over here, and then by default what Google Data Studio will do is that it will take a particular location field and it won't take any tooltip or color dimension or anything. By default it will show you the country name. If you basically click on view and if you go to a particular bubble, you will just see the country name over here. So by default, Google Data Studio doesn't take any data matrices except the country or the geo fields. So what I'll do first is that I'll resize this entire map based on my requirement. Okay, now I just want to focus on Asia specific countries, right? So first of all, I'll zoom it on the Asia specific countries, or you can say Europe specific countries also, so that we can put it into a single screen. Now let's go to our setup section. So this data setup section, the first thing that comes under this data setup section is the data source. So you have this data source where you have your country name and you have your data field or the frequency, or you can say the numeric column which you want to show as the numbers in your map. So you have selected your data source. Then if you have a date range in your data, then you can add that dimension over here. But in our data source, we do not have any date range, so by default it will be blank. Now if I go to fields, you will see this location. So based on geolocation, you have the capacity to select country name or a street name or a city name or latitude or longitude or geo-specific codes such as the country code also. So you can select all of these things, but in this example we are going to select country name, which by default Google Data Studio has also selected. Now the next part is tooltip. So this tooltip is optional dimension, and it is a dimension that provides labels for the data. It usually provides customer information that what exactly you are looking into. So suppose I'm looking into a particular country and I want to give an extra data or extra information that what is the capital of that country. Now if I want to add that, I can add capital as a dimension over here, and then if I go to view and if I select a particular country or hover over this India, you will see that I can see India over here, and when I put my mouse on this circle, you will see New Delhi, which is the capital of India. So basically this tooltip is a dimension that provides the labels for the data. For example, you can base the map location on the store address, or you can put it on a street address or a particular shop name or something like this. So within a particular location, you can give the store name, street name, or the locality name as a tooltip. Now the next part is the color dimension. This color dimension is also an optional dimension that provides the category for the Data Studio to be used for the color of the geodata. If you choose this option, you can't use the color metric option in this style. So I'll show you the color metrics in the style section. If you go down, you will see here that we have colors. So if you have chosen the color dimension over here in setup as a dimension, then you won't be able to choose this color metric option. So this color dimension depends upon whether you want to have a different color for different categories or not. So for example, if you're using continent instead of country name, then within a particular continent you have multiple countries, and you can choose a single color for the entire continent, and that single color will represent the entire countries in that continent, right? But here we are choosing country name in our location field, and we want each different countries to have a different color. So what we'll do is that we will simply select country name also in our color dimension, so that we can have a specific color for each and every countries. Now if you go and see this map, you won't find anything different, right? Because none of the bubbles over here shows what is the impact of the numbers of the internet user, how Nepal over here is different as compared to India, or how India is different as compared to China, because each and every bubble is of the same size, right? Now that's where this size parameters comes. This size is used to provide the size of a bubble to convey the relative metric value. So if I select internet users over here, you will see that the bubble size will change based on the number of internet users for each and every country. As you can see here, China has the largest number of internet users in the entire world. Then if we go here within Asia, you will see that India seems pretty big as compared to Pakistan, Nepal or Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, right? United Kingdom seems pretty big as compared to Denmark or Ireland or France, right? So that's how this bubble has an impact on this Google map. So this size will basically help your user to convey the relative metric value for each and every geographical location. Now, if you want to add a particular filter in your Google map, you can come over here under filter section, and then you can select or you can exclude a particular geographical location. So let's go and exclude anything that has Europe as a continent. So what we will do is that we'll go to our data first, and here we can see that we have continent, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm simply going to copy this continent header. Okay, I'll go to add a filter. Then I'll create a filter over here which says exclude continent, and I'm going to exclude the continent by selecting this continent field. So I have selected exclude, then I've selected the field which is continent. Then I'm going to give a condition says that if the continent name is equal to Europe, then exclude it. I don't want it in my data. Okay, and I'll click on save. Now you will see that all the bubbles from European continent has been removed from the map, and you can see rest all of the countries which is not in Europe has the bubbles, right? So this is the way you can create filters in Google Map or in the bubble map. Now if we go ahead, you can see that we have a style section over here, right? Now the first section within this style is the background layer. This background layer helps you to give the background of this visualized map. So if you have selected map, you are seeing this background. Now if I select satellite, you will see that you have a background similar to the satellite view of Google Map. Now it depends upon your requirement whether you can show in map or you can show the satellite as a background layer. Now there are different style or report theme for Google Map. So by default, Google Data Studio will select this report theme as silver. So this is the first report theme by default which will be selected, and you can see that your entire background is in silver. Now if I select standard, you will see a very different style of this Google Map. This standard basically reflects the same way the Google Map in your desktop or in your mobile phone will show. There is another option which is dark, and if you select it, you will see that the entire thing has become black. So everything comes black and white in Google Data Studio in terms of background after this dark style of Google Maps. The last one is the edit JSON, which we are not going to discuss about it, but I'll give you a little bit of more information about it. That if you want to have your own style of Google Maps in Data Studio, you can click on this edit JSON and you can put your code snippet over here. Now let's go and select the standard part, which is my favorite part. Now if you have your cities and your localities geolocation codes and you have given that in your Google Map or in bubble map, then you can increase or decrease the size of this roads dimension, saying that if you have specifically zoomed out on a particular country and a particular locality, then you can use this roads style where if you increase the size of the roads, you will be able to see the roads that is connecting between different locations, and if you decrease it or minimize it, you won't be able to see the roads. Now there are multiple landmarks, right? And if you do not want that landmark to be visible on your map, then you can reduce the size of this landmark also. Similarly, if you want to reduce the labels, size of label, or if you do not want the labels to be appearing on your map, then you can minimize it. And if you increase the label size, then you will be able to see the different labels of the locations. Now we have this layer part here. Currently we are using bubble map, so we have selected this bubble, right? Within Google Data Studio, you will have 4 different type of Google Maps: bubble map, field areas map, heat map, and line map. So we'll be discussing about all of these three different maps in consecutive videos. So in this video we are discussing about bubble map. So we'll select layer type as bubble map. So there are two ways to select it. The first is that the layer type you have selected bubble from here, or if you want to change it, you can come over here and select this field map, heat map, or this line map. So we'll be working with bubble map only. And if you want to increase the opacity, then you can go over here and select the opacity to 60% or 70% based on your requirement, right? And then you have this border weight. If you want to increase the border weight, you can select from 1 to 5, right? So the border weight of this bubble map will increase, okay? And if you decrease it, the width of this bubble map will be decreased. Similarly, for this opacity, it will also work that the bubbles opacity will be decreasing and increasing based on your selection. So let's keep it at 60%. As I've told you that you cannot select the colors of the dimension as you have selected over here. It's not recommended to select the color dimension if you have selected it in the setup section. So if you go to style, you will see that you have this color section, the manage dimension colors value, and if you want to specifically pick a certain color for a particular value, then you can select it. But one of the major challenges is that these values are the internet user values, not the country names present over here. So it's very difficult to go and see that, okay, where this value is or for which country this value is. You can go to data and then filter it out the value, and then you want to select the specific color for that country. So it doesn't make sense to select the dimension with color values from style if you have selected the color values from this setup section for the country names. And this is the most convenient way to select the colors for your categorical data in Google Data Studio for Google Maps. So we will not be selecting any color from here. Then beneath that color you will have this map controls. Now by default you will see that Google Data Studio has selected all of these four options, right? Let's remove all of these four options one by one, and then we are going to discuss about it. So the first option is allow pan and zoom. So if you select this, you will see that you have a zoom button over here, right? And by default when you select this show zoom control will also appear, and it will be checked by default. You cannot uncheck it. But after selecting this allow pan and zoom, you can uncheck this. But when you specifically select this allow pan and zoom, you will see that by default Google Data Studio selects this zoom control also. So next, this is the show street view control. So if you select this, you will be able to drag this pegment into a particular street and see the street view of Google Map also. The next option is that show full screen control, and if you want to have your users to see the full screen of the map, then you can select this, and by selecting this you will see that on the top right hand side you will have this full screen option. Then you have this show map type control. If you select this, on left hand side you will see that you have map and satellite, and if you select satellite then entire background will change. Similarly, if you select map, the entire background will change, and if you can also select the terrain also. Then we have this show scale control. If you select this, you will be able to see that you have a scale control present over here, which is shown in the extreme right in the corner of the map. Now if I go down, you will have this size legend, and by default Google Data Studio has put the legends in the bottom of this map, and you can see here the internet users and the numbers are present here. It's in the bottom right, and if you want to put it onto the top, then you can select top. Then you will see that internet users and these values are present on the top. Similarly, if you want to put it in the left hand side, you can select from here, and from right hand side you can select it over here. Then we have a subsection of alignment also. Based on your requirement, you can select top, middle, or you can select the bottom part, but most frequently we use top within this size legend section. Now if you want to show legend title, you can check this button, and if you don't want to show it, you can uncheck it, but it's always useful to show the legend title. Now if you want to change the colors, you can change it from here. Let's select something red, right? and then we have this size. So right now it's on auto, so let's select around 30 pixel. Oh, it will be quite big, so let's select 20 pixels, right? Or even less, smaller, 16 pixel. Similarly, you have the font style also. You can change font style of this legends from here. Let's select Times New Roman. And if you want to show the compact number, you can check this button here, and you will see that Google Data Studio has automatically changed the numbers into the compact numbers. And if you want to increase or decrease the decimal precision within these numbers, then you can select the decimal precision from here. Let's select 2. Okay, then you have color legends, right? So when you have selected this size legends position, by default this color legend position also get changes based on your selection. So right now it's on right, let's keep it on bottom, right? And then if you go up, you will see that the size legend option has also, position has also changed to bottom, and alignment is left, right? Because by default the color legend option alignment is on left size. Now if you want to increase the lines, maximum lines of these legends, you can select from here, right? Now if you want to change the color of these legends, you can change the colors from here. So let's keep red only, okay, or let's keep black. Then same font size, if you want to change the font size of these legends, you can select it from here, as well as the font family. Now in our data we have countries in our legends, right? So it doesn't make sense for us to check this compact numbers, right? Now if we talk about this background and border, if you want to change the background, then you can select any of the color, and you will see that the background within this map has changed. The background of this Google map has not changed, but this legend and the other part background has changed, right? And if you want to set the opacity to a particular level, you can do that for this entire background, but let's keep it at 90%, right? Now if you want to have the border color as well as the border weight and this type of border you want, you can select from here and show the border shadow also. Now there is an option says chart header, and if you want to always show the chart header, you can select always show, right? And if you don't want to show it, just click on do not show. So as I have told you, we have the luxury of controlling the presentation and appearance of the chart here in Google Data Studio. You can go through this entire list of the styles and select based on your requirement. You can change or update a particular Google map visual. Now we have created this bubble map, right? And if I go to view, you will be able to see the entire data, right? If you select a particular country or put your mouse over a country, you will be able to see the country name, the capital in the tooltip, and the internet users, the number of internet users, right? And now as we have created this entire bubble map from scratch, you should have knowledge about the limitations of this bubble map also. So the first limitation is the limited number of bubbles. So you have a limited number of bubbles and you can use up to 1 million. For bubble map using latitude and longitude field, you may include up to 1 million bubbles, and by default the maximum number of bubbles is set to 100k bubbles, but you have the option to increase it to 1 million as you wish. And the second option is the no drill down. So this is the biggest, you can say, limitations of Google Map, is that you have no drill down option in this bubble map. One of the major disadvantage is this one, that we are not allowed to drill up or drill down to the city view, country view, continent view, etc. So when you are creating this map, you can select the city view, country view, or continent view in your location field, but you can see here that we do not have an option to put a drill down within this field location option. So these are the two limitations of bubble map, but I would highly encourage you to go and check out the geo charts of the Data Studio if you are looking to provide much more functionality to your user within a particular dashboard. So that's all for this video. In next video, we are going to discuss about the field maps in Data Studio. Happy learning and see you in the next video.